climbing solo queue is all about problem solving. And problem solving is a skill that is very tough to develop, and it's hard to do in League because it's so easy to blame our teammates and to blame other things and kind of just not really worry about it. But today I want to show you guys how to problem solve and VOD review your own games and think about the game like a professional or how like a coach would kind of analyze the game. So this example is actually coming from one of my academy clients. He's the Ari here. And in this game, basically, we are trying to figure out how, like, what went wrong, and we're trying to figure out what things we can learn from this game. So oftentimes when we're VOD reviewing, I will just set the speed. I'll open up the VOD, I'll set the speed to like double or 4 times, and we'll just fast forward until some weird things happen. So we're going through this together, and we're thinking, okay, we're just going to stop when we see something weird. And this is often how you want to review your own games. So you could even stop at the mechanical things like the like getting hit by the wind wall here and stuff like this. But this play, we go top, we waste some time, we come back, we take a weird trade, and we have no prio. So we're in a weird situation. We're in a really weird situation. And now it's our job to think, okay, we have a problem. Our job is to figure out what led to the problem. Because the problem is a symptom. And we need to figure out what the actual roots of the problem is so we have something to learn about. So we're all about reverse engineering. That's the biggest tip to think like a professional, is to reverse engineer situations. How did Ari get this low? Well, she took a bad trade here. Well, that trade's not really avoidable if you're coming like this. So why were we coming like this? Well, because we roamed top level 2. So what's the problem? The problem is going backwards in time, reverse engineering. It's not this trade. This is, once again, is another symptom. It's that we have to come down this way in the first place, right? We can't roam top at level 2 because the chance of us getting this kill with no charm is almost 0. So learning objective is don't roam at level 2 on Ari. If you are going to roam at level 2, make sure you have charm and make sure you're moving with your jungler so that you can kill the person when you're coming back and make sure the roam actually looks good. That's kind of the first thing, something to think about. That's just the first example in this game of many of reverse engineering a bad situation. Now, as we keep going on this game, we get more and more situations like this. Here we have a good play. Actually, we have a nice little gank. We get first blood. Things are great. And now, we stay. And some of my higher elo friends may already be saying like, hey, this is weird. But we're pretending that we're a low elo player analyzing our own games. We don't know why this is weird yet. So we're just watching it. We're like, okay, whatever. Let's say it all looks fine. Now we have another bad scenario. So our teammates are dying here. Now, when you're reviewing your own games, you have to ask, is there a way that I could have impacted this? Especially when you're playing Ari, when your job is to roam a lot and have a very nice impact on the map. It's important to understand that you want to be at fights like this, especially when your jungler is there. So your jungler is making a play top. We want to be here. So now we have to ask like, well, we were top at one point, but now we're not here. How can we figure out a way to align the pieces so that we can be top at the same time as our jungle so that our pressure actually makes more sense? Well, me and Spartan talked about it, me and the Ari, and the Ari said, well, at this point, there's nothing really to do about it, which is absolutely correct. This is the problem. We're here and we can't have impact here. So we have to reverse engineer. We have to say, okay, well, why weren't we there? Well, what's happening in the first place? Our Hecarim's top and there's a fight happening. Well, how could we have known that Hecarim was going to be interacting top? Let's go back earlier. And what I asked the Ari is I said, after this gank, what is the most important information? Oh, let me go back a little bit further. After this gank, what's the most important thing to do after this gank? What's the most important thing we have to be thinking about? What's the information we missed? Well, there's 2 big things. The first thing is you killed Yasuo. Whenever you get a kill in lane, you want to reset so you can go spend your money so that he can't roam, right? So you want to reset because of that. The second thing is, as a champion that wants to roam a lot, you want to back with your jungle. So your jungle's really low because he just made a play with you and he's going to back. So what should we do? We should back with him. We need to back right now. So our learning objective is, after making a play with our jungler, make sure that we're watching their tempo and we back with them so we can make another play with our jungler. Here, by staying, you offset your pressure with your jungler, and now you can no longer apply pressure with him. And you actually end up hurting your jungle pretty hard here. Where you know this is going to happen because Hecarim just made a play with you. So then he's going to back, and he just finished his bottom camp, so the next bot he's going to go is top. So, once again, the way that you analyze this situation is you wait until a situation feels bad, where something not good happens. Well, here's something not good happens, and we ask, is it my job to be here? Well, we're a roaming champion that wants to play around our jungle, so yes, it absolutely, positively is our job to be here. How could we have impacted it? Well, you had to back with your jungler, and that's the learning objective. Okay, well, we can keep playing this game out. And we end up going top for this roam, and it's like, okay, whatever, things are fine. Like, we lose a whole wave mid. It's something to think about. We'll keep speeding up until the next uncomfortable situation. And Yasuo gets this prio. And Yasuo gets to go bottom. And our bot lane dies. And our bot lane dies to our mid laner. Once again, another problem. Now, too many times when I watch other people play, they will say, hey man, it was their fault. I pinged it. And it's like, whoa, your laner roamed somewhere and got a double kill. That is our fault since that is our laner. So this is the problem. So now the question is, how can we reverse engineer this and fix it? So I'm going to ask you guys right now, we're about probably 6.5, 7 minutes into the video. So go ahead and type 7 and what you guys think the issue was leading up to this. And I'm going to rewind it, and I'll tell you before I tell the answer, but I'm going to rewind it. We're going to rewind here. Right? And we're just kind of seeing what's happening. Watching all of the available information. So now, the issue here is Yasuo is going to get priority. And we're going into the answer now. So if you guys haven't commented it and you want to, pause and go comment. But Yasuo is going to have priority. Now, once again, we can't really stop him from having priority because he already killed the first 3 minions and he has his Q3 up. So we have to be very respectful. And he's up a level. Right? So once again, this is another symptom. So he has priority that leads to double kill bottom. So once again, we have another problem that we have to reverse engineer. Why on earth does he have priority? Well, let's look back 15 seconds and let's think about it. Okay, well, we're coming back to lane. He got the wave. He's hitting the wave and we're not here. So we actually can't stop the priority. So this isn't the problem. The problem's earlier. Why weren't we here to stop this? Well, we were top while our Hecarim's here and our bot lane's coming out of base. Why were we top? Well, this actually is the problem earlier, where we ended up roaming to the play that was already over. Right? Our Hecarim's already dead. We already weren't here. So the first play we made actually kind of led into the second mistake where we overstayed top lane. And overstaying top lane and chasing the Cho'Gath around and trying to get this kill indirectly gets your bottom lane double killed. Because imagine now, if rather than being up here, you're in mid lane, you could be poking him down, and then the next wave, you could be here to push the next wave, which is the one that he pushes to go roam on, and you can stop that situation from happening. So by the end of this game, and that's the answer, by the way, overstaying here is the problem. So we had 3 big problems in the first 5 minutes. The first problem was a level 2 roam, and this is what me and the Ori talked about. Oh, that's a bad color. Let's use yellow here. So the first one was level 2 roam. Don't do that. The second one was not backing with our jungler. So back more with jungler. And I want to phrase these as learning objectives. Don't roam at level 2 unless very good reason with jungler. Back more with jungler. And then don't overplay for plays that are already over. So these 3 learning objectives, these are things that now Spartan can take into his next game, and over his next, couple of days of playing is what he can use to improve on the most. These are called learning objectives. So this is how you think about the game in ways of how can you impact it, how can you improve, and how can you work on things yourself. You have to always look at bad situations and think back to a point where you could have changed something to have a different outcome. Now, this takes a lot of thinking. It takes a lot of analytical power. And it takes a lot of studying your own games. And that's what it takes to become a very good League player and to become a very kind of analytical mind when it comes to playing League. By the end of this game, the Ari here was actually 10-3-6. And he initially came to me and said, hey man, JS, I'm 10-3-6, man. I'm smurfing. I shouldn't lose this game. However, we spent 5 minutes of game time looking at the early game, and we've seen that we've already indirectly gotten Yasuo ahead, got Yasuo a double kill bot lane, so got our bot lane behind, and hurt a lot of our Hecarim's opportunity because we were not playing with him. We were always on the opposite side. So it's even games that think they look good, oftentimes we have far more impact than we think, and all it takes is going back to these games and looking and thinking, every awkward situation, this is a symptom of something. What could I have done to make things look differently? What could I have done? If I do this, how does it look differently? If I go a different direction with my roam, how do things look differently? If I place my vision on the opposite side, if I crash a different wave, if I back at a different time. There's all these little variables you got to mess with and play with to see what can you turn and figure out to make the situation different. And of course, my favorite saying, I've been saying this a lot in the academy, is if things were different, different things would happen. So your job is to figure out what different things can you do to make better things happen. And that's what climbing is all about. So this video was how to study your games like a professional, how to think about the game like a professional, and how to take responsibility for kind of these awkward plays on your teams yourself. Now, it's different for other roles. If you guys would like personal coaching one-on-one from me, check out the JS Academy. There we do VOD reviews, we do lots of 1v1 practice, and we host lots of other fun community events like TFT games and things like that. So if that sounds like something you're interested in and you want to support me and get some coaching from me, check out the Patreon. It's patreon.com/JS Academy. Link will be in the description. And I appreciate you guys watching this video. I will see you guys in tomorrow's. Y'all have a nice night. Peace.